Hi everyone, it's me, Dr. Whimsy. I'm just sitting here outside my home in sunny Los Angeles, getting ready to go into the office and see patients. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about broke aristocrats and Ethics 101. I've been looking at some of the YouTube blogs on frugal living, personal finance, all that stuff that I love so much. And I have to ask myself, what's the point? What is the point of frugal living? What is the point of personal finance? When I first started to put myself on a budget and I was following the Dave Ramsey program, I was living very frugally. And it was a good thing because I had some credit card debt. So I lived very frugally and I paid down my debt, and I was incredibly depressed. I was incredibly depressed. Some personal information about me. It was at a difficult time in my life. I was going through a lot of stuff. I had incurred a lot of debt, which, it happens. I didn't know anything about personal finance. I didn't know how to handle my life. I learned late in life how to do this stuff. And that's okay as long as you learn it. But I was very frugal and I became profoundly depressed. And I remember I had a very long commute from work and I was starting a private practice and working a job many, many hours a week. And I remember coming from my job, and it was a 1-hour commute there and a 1-hour back, over an hour in fact. And I remember being so depressed I didn't even want to get out of bed in the morning. And I learned some powerful lessons from that. But one of the powerful lessons I learned from that is that if you're not happy, then that needs to be re-examined. Because if you're so frugal that you've grown depressed, if you're so frugal you feel like your life is over and your life is hopeless, then that's a problem. And I got a lot out of Dave Ramsey. I still watch his stuff, but sometimes listening to him made me unbelievably depressed. And I was already struggling a lot. I was already struggling as a new business owner, somebody who was responsible. I was doing a lot of stuff right, and it didn't help. It didn't help to hear his podcast, his YouTube, his radio show, and be told that the house was on fire, be told that that I should be running like a gazelle. It did not motivate me. It got to a point where it actually depressed me, to the point where I literally was too depressed to get out of bed. That's extreme. That isn't good. That isn't helpful. That doesn't work for me. If you're a married person and you have children and a family and a house and all of that, then I understand that you're trying to be a responsible person and take care of your family, and I commend you for that. But if being frugal is so extreme, and if you are so freaked out by listening to Dave Ramsey or any financial advisor to the point where you're so depressed you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, that's a problem. And I have an ethical problem with that. I think it's irresponsible on the part of the financial advisor to be so harsh with people that that they're so depressed they don't want to get out of bed. And it doesn't serve a purpose. The purpose should be to get out of debt, be happy, and live the good life. But we have to do it in a responsible way, and we don't want to be making people who are already struggling more depressed. So that's my feedback about all of that. If you find that frugal living is making you depressed, if you find that you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, I think that it needs to be re-examined, because your life has to have joy in it. The purpose of life from a broke aristocrat's perspective is twofold. First, that you do good in the world. Be a good person. That is rule number one if you are a broke aristocrat. Be a good, decent person. Treat others with respect. Treat yourself with respect. Take care of yourself. And number two, the goal of being a broke aristocrat is to be happy. So if all this frugal living is not bringing you joy, if you're not happy, if you're depressed, profoundly depressed as I was, then you're doing something wrong. So that's when you have to take a look at your budget and say, how can I do things differently? Do I need to get another income source? Do I need to loosen up the budget a little bit so that I give myself a little bit of a treat? But yeah, so that's what happened to me. I listened to Dave Ramsey, and at first it was very motivating, and at first it was great, and then it became really depressing. You know, it became, you know, I would lie in bed and I would sob, you know, feeling alone and feeling like I couldn't do it on my own and feeling like I had screwed my life up. You know, I'm not saying that that's how he impacts everybody. I'm saying that's how it impacted me. All right, that's my take on all of that and my ethics as a broke aristocrat. Thanks for watching. Bye.